The most well-known beverage in the world is probably Slurpee. About 13 million units are sold around the world each year, which brings in over $300 million in sales. It all started with a truck driver who made an embarrassing mistake. In Barnes, Kansas, Omar Nedlich was born in 1916 to a poor farming family with 6 kids. He was raised as a typical farm boy who was constantly fixing machinery. Omar developed a love for making frozen treats while working as an ice cream truck driver in Lynn, Missouri, as a young adult. He used his military pay after serving in World War II to launch his own business by buying an ice cream parlor in Belleville, Kansas. Omar eventually achieved financial success when he was able to expand his ice cream parlor network. When he tried his hand at other endeavors, he wasn't as fortunate. Due to his familiarity with frozen desserts, Omar lost so much money after making investments in a number of unsuccessful hotels that he was forced to use his savings. He scraped together the last of his savings and purchased a dilapidated Dairy Queen in Belleville, Kansas. As soon as Omar took control of the business, he understood that his problems had just begun. The store lacked a functioning soda fountain and a refrigerator to keep soda bottles chilled. He couldn't help but use the freezer. The sodas eventually came out partially frozen, and in a slushy soda mixture after Omar forgot to take them out. Omar was ashamed to offer them to his clients, but to his surprise, they accepted them and even began to ask for them. Omar decided to build his own machine after realizing he needed to find a way to produce these treats whenever he wanted. Omar developed a prototype for a half-frozen soda with the aid of his wife Doris using an old ice cream maker and a car air conditioner. Any flavor premix could be put inside and put under pressure to increase the density of the liquid. The liquid would freeze when the pressure was released, at 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Omar finally finished perfecting his prototype and submitted the patent after 5 years of trying and failing. After that, he started to promote his slushy sodas as the coldest drinks in town and started selling them in 4 different flavors: cola, root beer, Dr. Pepper, and orange soda. Dean Sperry, a salesman, once delivered ice cream ingredients to Omar's Dairy Queen. He made his first encounter with Omar's slushy soda machine there. Dean asked Omar if they could work together as a business partner because he was so intrigued and thought it would be a successful venture. Omar concurred, and the two set out in search of a manufacturer in an effort to produce and market the device in large quantities. Finding a manufacturer proved to be more challenging than anticipated, much to Omar and Dean's dismay. The two finally found a company that was willing to try, but when they agreed to a $5,000 rental agreement for 3 months, the company abruptly backed out. At that point, Omar Dean made the decision to look for assistance from a business called John E. Mitchell, which had recently changed its focus from producing cotton cleaning equipment to producing replacement car air conditioners, which Omar used for his first prototype. John E. Mitchell agreed to build the machine because he, like Dean, thought that slushy sodas were a promising business. Omar and Dean started coming up with names for the slushy sodas after they agreed to a deal with Johnny Mitchell. Omar proposed renaming the institution Skoldasis, but a friend in the advertising industry convinced him against it. The name Fizz was then proposed by Omar, but he abandoned it after Kellogg threatened legal action. Because Kellogg was already selling a product with a similar name called Fizzies that consisted of tablets that could be dropped into water to create a fizzy, carbonated beverage. Omar then made the decision to commission Ruth Taylor, a local designer, to create a name and logo. Ruth proposed the name Ice and the colors red and blue for the logo. The mascot was a polar bear, which she also sketched. Omar adopted Ruth's suggestions and carried them out, even giving his business the name Icy. Despite the introduction of a new, catchy brand, the Icy company was only able to sell 200 to 300 machines at a cost of $3,000 each. Omar and Dean realized it was time to change their product and strategy over the course of the following 5 years. They staked on the idea that if the machines were made smaller, grocery and convenience stores would be more inclined to buy or lease them. Soon after, Omar and Dean carried out their plans. After leasing their machines rather than purchasing them and basing payment on how many cups were sold almost immediately, the IC company was able to turn a profit. I see that after sweeping the nation, Amazon found itself with a backlog of 2,000 machine orders. IC machines were added to convenience and grocery stores, theaters, and even large retail chains like Walmart and Kmart in the years that followed. Around this time, 7-Eleven, the first convenience store in the world with over 100 locations, became interested in IC. Despite being impressed by its success, 7-Eleven wasn't convinced by its name, because they believed it wouldn't appeal to its young, hip clientele. They targeted Bob's 7-Eleven at Stanford. The name Slurpee was proposed by the advertising director because drinking it made a distinct slurping sound. To launch their new product and attract young customers, Omar and Dean agreed to allow 7-Eleven to change the product's name to Slurpee and that only 7-Eleven stores could do the same. 7-Eleven developed a clever marketing strategy that included printing psychedelic artwork on the front of cups and giving away copies of the record dance The Slurp. People eagerly waited in line to try a Slurpee at their neighborhood 7-Elevens when they first became available over the following years. As more 7-Eleven locations opened around the world, Slurpee quickly gained popularity in the US. At the same time, Slurpee started working with video games, comic books, rock bands, and sports organizations. Slurpee started to replace the psychedelic designs on the front of the cups with sponsored artwork and famous pop after realizing the potential to advertise goods on the cups. Slurpee also provided brief biographies and stats about famous athletes on the cups' backs. Depending on who was popular that season, a set of major sports players would consist of 40 to 60 cups. Omar was able to profit from the huge success of his unintentional slushy drink for 17 years before his patent ran out. He retired a few years later and experienced kidney issues. He died 6 years after that. Advertising on Slurpee cups was elevated over the following 10 years when blockbuster films like The Simpsons movie, Iron Man, and Men in Black were promoted using limited edition cups and flavors. The first National Free Slurpee Day was created by 7-Eleven as it approached its 75th birthday by giving out free drinks to customers. Every year, the first 1,000 customers at 7-Eleven locations across the globe receive free Slurpees, totaling about 7 million free drinks annually. Canada's Winnipeg, Manitoba, has held the title of the world's Slurpee capital for 22 years running. In the city, 8,300 Slurpees are typically sold each month. A Slurpee is often seen in the heads of people waiting in line for the bus in Winnipeg when it is minus 40 degrees Celsius, according to Dale Shaw, the marketing manager for 7-Eleven. The street is even called Slurpee Way because the city is such a fan. Slurpees are arguably the most well-known frozen beverage in the entire world. Which of the following facts was your favorite in this video? Let us know in the comments. Also don't forget to turn on the notification bell like and subscribe for more.